The Prime Minister has promised Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy that Australia will continue to provide it with military support as he met with world leaders attending the new Pope's inauguration.
Anthony Albanese also responded cautiously to a push from the European Union for closer security ties. Leaders have gathered in Rome for Pope Leo XIV's historic inauguration mass, where the pontiff called for peace in Ukraine and in Gaza. Our Foreign Affairs reporter Stephen Jedgetts is travelling with the Prime Minister and joins us now from Rome. Stephen, lovely to see you there. Let's start with that meeting with Ukraine's President. What were the main issues on the agenda?
Well, James, I think the main focus, at least for Volodymyr Zelenskyy, was talking to Anthony Albanese about what could be done to really maximise pressure on Russia to try and bring it back to the negotiating table and to strike a peace that Ukraine can live with. We've seen stalled talks over recent days and accusations from Ukraine that Russia simply isn't serious about peace. Now, Mr Zelenskyy told Mr Albanese that he would like more sanctions placed on Russia. Australia's already got some 1,500 sanctions placed on Russian entities, but clearly there's still an appetite for more. On top of that, the two men discussed the Abrams tanks. You might remember these are the ageing tanks that Australia promised to send to Ukraine to help them repel Russia's invasion. The ABC revealed last month that they hadn't yet left Australia to get to Ukraine. Now, today, Mr Albanese said that the tanks were, quote, on their way. But when we asked him afterwards what that meant, have they actually left Australia, he declined to say, saying he didn't want to compromise national security in any way. More broadly, though, it does appear that Australia and Ukraine really are on the same page here. And Mr Zelenskyy praised Australia for its contributions, both through its donations of military equipment, but also more broadly on the international stage, trying to back in Ukraine. Mr Albanese, for his part, said that he was willing to do whatever was necessary to help Ukraine prevail. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
We continue to look at whatever we can do to place pressure on Russia. It's important as well that we continue to send the message to the globe that we stand with Ukraine.
That's the Prime Minister speaking there. Now, Stephen, Mr Albanese also met with the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who has proposed some tighter security ties. How did the Prime Minister respond to this suggestion?
Yeah, this was an interesting one, James, and it came ever so slightly out of the blue. Ursula von der Leyen suggested at the beginning of the meeting that she'd like to discuss a new security partnership with Australia, similar, she said, to the one that they've struck recently with Japan, South Korea, and before too long, the United Kingdom as well. This would basically allow tighter cooperation on things like cybersecurity and potentially in realms like within military exercises, for example. Now, Anthony Albanese certainly wasn't hostile to that idea. He said he'd be happy to look at it, but he also stressed that these discussions were in their very, very early stages. He pointed out Australia's already got good security ties with a number of individual European nations. So you got the sense from the Prime Minister he was willing to look at this, but perhaps not overwhelming enthusiasm from Mr Albanese for the idea.
And finally, there's only one real reason at the moment that people are heading to Rome. The PM met with Pope Leo XIV. Tell us about that, Stephen.
Yeah, that's right, James. It was a brief meeting. Mr Albanese was one of the leaders who was ushered into St Peter's Basilica to meet with the new pontiff after the inaugural mass yesterday. Mr Albanese told reporters that he told the Pope that his mother, who has now, of course, passed away, would have been smiling at this. Of course, Mr Albanese famously raised Catholic in a housing commission flat. Quite the transformation to Prime Minister in Rome, going to a papal mass like this. Let's take a listen to what the Prime Minister had to say.
I spoke to him about my mother would be, is I'm sure, looking down from heaven with the biggest smile she's ever had.
So just a brief reflection there from Mr Albanese amidst a pretty hectic schedule of meetings, but a touching moment nonetheless, James.